And it's a very warm welcome back to the Bar Stewards Inquiry, the Friday night show where we preview the next day's racing. Unfortunately for us, we've lost Trials Day at Cheltenham. The track is waterlogged. Looks like we might lose Fairyhouse as well, so that only leaves us with Doncaster to talk about. As ever, I'm joined by John Leng and Lee Keys, and in association with systembet.co.uk, I'm Cathryn Fry. We're going to take you through a few listeners' questions. We may have to save some for the Sunday sermon because thanks to you all, we're getting some great questions in at the moment. Keep them coming. We really do appreciate them. We will get underway with a few of those, and then we will take a look at the card at Doncaster. Let's hope that Doncaster doesn't get besieged by rain, because then we'll really be scratching around on the all-weather. So we're going to look at a question from Nick Davis. Is the drainage at Cheltenham, has it started failing? Sure, there have been meets on with less rain, or has the surface been knackered by years of the can? Think a few years back, it would dry up pretty quickly. I've got an answer to that, Nick. I think the last 2 winters here in Cheltenham have actually been 2 of the wettest winters I've ever known. And even in town, the water table is really, really, really high. And I think that we're just dealing with, I think we've had a lot of rain in the past, but not the sort of quantity on days that have been falling. So it might rain all day, but a very sort of light quantity. We're getting absolute deluge within a couple of hours at the point. And I mean, I've never known the water table to be as it is in town. The rivers and lakes are absolutely bursting their banks all over town. Been for a walk today, and the whole town is absolutely saturated. But I'll open this up to the boys and see what they think. Lee, your thoughts on the ground at Cheltenham?
Yeah, it's interesting. Nick sort of is quite a shrewd judge, and like in the early days when the drainage system was sort of done at Cheltenham, literally, you'd have good to firm festivals. I mean, it was, but obviously, Mother Nature has its duty, and like you say, I mean, the thing is, it's hard to know. It's a really hard question to answer. I mean, does watering affect like you said the base overall? I don't know. I'm not qualified to say, but yeah, I'd agree with you, Cathryn, really on what you said. So yeah,
I think we've been particularly sort of unlucky this last sort of 2 months in the fact that we had a really, really, really wet December. Massive storm just before Christmas, massive storm after Christmas. Lost New Year's Day, and then literally since New Year's Day, all it has done is piss with rain. And then we had 10 centimetres of snow on Sunday. Obviously that melted, and it just rained again for the rest of the week. So I think it's just been sort of quite unlucky, really. But John, I know that you always like to talk about Clarks and their ground. What do you have to say on this?
I'm not sure how much I can add to this because we've had genuine local information, haven't we? As yourself has kindly looked down from the big house as it sits majestically astride Clave Hill.
Oh, yeah. That's my gaff, didn't you know?
And, the Cheltenham surface, well, there has been a lot of watering over the years. In my experience, watering wakens routes. When you get wake routes, it does affect the racing surface. You look at even old clips. I mean, you go back to like the Quagmire of 75 when the likes of 10 Up and Chinruller were winning races. They weren't kicking Clemmies up the size that they kick up on the opening day now when it's supposed to be good to soft ground. But that said, as well, you get situations where the ground came back in those days, I mean, you got to 77 when it was a lot quicker ground, and there was 2 or 3 killed. I think there was 2 killed in that Gold Cup that year. And as you say, Cathryn, we're getting wetter winters. Don't know would be the short answer, but I just wish there'd be a bit more circumspect with the watering.
I think, I think they could have sort of said this at the beginning of the week. I mean, it hasn't just become waterlogged. Like, the town's been underwater since the beginning of January, and then we had the snow as well. I think it was pretty obvious what was going to happen, but I guess when I think it's kind of weird, especially as there would be no crowd, why they didn't say it earlier. But I guess they were just desperate to get those races on.
All of the gondolas in town eating cornettos, aren't they?
Anyway, another question. This is from Martin Shallow. How much did Barney Curley give McCroke to bail him out? I haven't a clue. Lee?
You washed that one quickly, Cathryn.
I know, yeah. Legal team, John. No.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the rumours were at the time that Barney paid vast sums to bail John out, and I mean, if you ever watched that interview on ATR,
yeah, super. Yeah.
I mean, it was just, you could see that John normally had got everything to say to anybody and wouldn't back down to anybody, but as soon as Barney started ranting at him, and use a takeout merchant, you're the biggest.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he's just saying, yes.
Yes, I know.
So, I mean,
you were gone.
Yeah, the rumours were that it was a substantial amount, but I mean, this is the thing. I don't know. No idea.
John, an idea?
Well, whatever he did bail him out to, I don't think he bailed him out with Ladbrokes, because I think it would have been about 1989 time. Myself and a friend of mine were organising a charity go in Scarborough to try and raise a few quid for the scanner for the hospital. And I had another friend that was an area manager for Ladbrokes. And he said, "Do you want my credit there?" I said, "Well, I don't know," was the short answer. I said, "Why?" And he said, he has to do whatever we say. He said, "We have him opening betting shops."
Oh, really?
So
was more than a few bob then.
Well, it sounded like they had him on a choke chain, and every time they give him a Yankee had to go and open a betting shop or something, so I don't know.
89. Yeah, that was.
I'll
move on to.
Still in me crab.
I know. I was at school in 89. I was 13 in 89. Yeah.
There you saying I'm doing more for charity than Bob Hope at that.
That was just for the fanboys. That to let you know, like Cathryn's age there, 13, 89. Yeah.
1989. What a year though. Desi won the Gold Cup. I was there.
Yes.
Great year.
Yahoo.
Yahoo loves the mud. Yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway, moving on. I can tell you two have been on the gin. Moving on to question. Are the top national hunt trainers better horsemen than their flat equivalents? I find it inconceivable that some of the silver spoon merchants on the flat wouldn't be eaten alive by the likes of Mullins. John, that's a question for you specifically.
Ah, they're bollocks. No.
Really?
I mean, for every John Gosden stroke Willie Mullins, there's 100 John Wainwrights and Charlie Pogsons, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's probably more underachievers on the flat. Ones that have had things handed to them, I mean, obviously, I hate to name names, but, Harry and Ed, for instance, I mean, that money would have probably been better spent on redundancy money for Leaper's staff when he turned it in. But no, I think the top are the top, I mean.
Okay.
Would you really say Cecil would have struggled if he'd had to train novice hurdlers? You know.
No, but I mean, you're talking about. I mean, Cecil was a genius, wasn't he?
You know, and if you want to like compare somebody that did it across both codes, Dr. O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
Yep.
no, your top flat trainers can do well. I mean, Stout did it. He won a champion hurdle, didn't he?
Yeah. Crebensis.
Fanshawe did.
Yeah.
You know, Fanshawe probably a better sticks trainer than flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crebensis. Yeah.
No would be my short answer.
Okay, Lee.
Yeah, agree with John there. I think it's a case of what you train what you've got, and I mean the thing is, what I find interesting is like the old guard trainers where horses would make the debuts at 6 and 7 years old in national hunt scenes. Like your old school trainers, like say for example Jim Draper. It give them time. I think the things have moved on though now. The owners of this day that pay sort of 250,000 for a winning pointer want to see them bolt up at the Leopard Sound Christmas Festival in a bumper.
Mm-hmm.
Not wait until 6-year-old for the debut. I think the game's just changed a little bit. So it's just that's where I sit on it. The game, the times are ever moving, and I don't think there's any superiority from flat or national. So.
Okay. All right, we'll do one more question, and then we'll leave the rest for Sunday. And if you do have any for Sunday, if you're listening, please do still send them in. We know where we're up to, and we'll make sure that your question gets read out. This is quite a good one from Tom Jenkins. We all moan and chastise the fixers, but if you were a jockey, cricketer, stroke professional sportsman, would you be bent, stroke use your privileged position to bet, stroke fix for your men? Confession time.
Absolutely. Forgive me, Father.
Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned.
Yeah.
Silence. Well, that one silenced the boys. Well
do you want me to answer first, Cathryn?
Go on, Lee.
I think it's
just see the little angel and devil on your shoulder there.
Yes, I think it's circumstances. I think if I was a Frankie Dettori of this world, I would not be interested. If I was a journeyman jockey, a journey person jockey, I have to be careful with my language these days. But yeah, so I would say that it depends on your personal circumstances.
Okay.
It's simply as if you're riding for an 85-year-old deer that basically, doesn't give a hell about the game, and it's 6-4 favourite, and somebody offers you 5k to stop it, then yeah, I'd probably stop it. But then if it was like a lovely set of owners that have all had the money on, the cash on, and how can you go against that? So that's the
quality. John.
Interesting little scene over here. The angel and the devil on my shoulders.
Do you have an angel, John?
The devil's just taken the angel outside and kicked the shit out of it. Would you be bent? Of course I would.
Superb. Love it. No messing.
Yeah. Just a quick story. Sam Hall, legendary trainer and legendary Brandy Alexander drinker. Story about the lads who hadn't got punters in his yard. He got a gamble that was ruined really by early money from unnamed sources. And he lined all the lads up in the yard. And he said, right, anybody that's got punters, take a step forward. And they were all frightened stiff for Sam, so that all them with punters took a step forward, and there's about 4 left behind that didn't have punters. And he gave them all the extra work mucking out for being so stupid as to not have punters. So I mean, you have to, and unless, as Lee says, you're like Frankie Dettori.
Yeah.
It's too easy not to be.
Point, John.
If you're riding on the all-weather and the 64 favourite, I mean, honestly, I'd be the world's worst. Honestly, I'd be hating the length and breadth of the UK. I'm not. Yeah. And the worst of it is I really wouldn't care.
Brilliant. You know what, John? I don't think anybody can not admire your honesty. Oh, yeah. Tell it as it is, boy. That's right. Okay, well, let's take a look at Doncaster then. A 7-race card tomorrow at Donny. Let's hope it goes ahead. Now, I think I described this card to you both earlier as a pile of shite. I'm obviously sulking, of course, because...
Doncaster is shithole to me, actually.
Oh, I did, yeah.
You used the word shithole, yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, Doncaster. It's just, you
know. Said the AIDS capital of the UK.
I didn't actually know that fact. I didn't know that. I have been to Doncaster on several occasions, long time ago. Yeah, Lee, where do you want to start with, Donny?
Okay. Shall we go race 1? We may as well do like the
you two.
12:55 race, the handicap hurdle. I thought Dorking Boy was a shade of value at around the double figure. Have I tipped yours, John? I tip your now. Is that what I've done? I'm terrible. I know. Well, basically, I'll tell you how I found it. Is that right? If you look to its form last season, it beat the Wolf. They beat the Wolf 123. It's now 121. They've had a few spins, blah blah blah. They've tried chasing, doesn't work. They put Miss S. Whittle on last time out. You know, I mean, they'll like get a few pounds off Whittle. So she did. She's absolutely swam the channel for the Lacey team. She's got £3 off.
One for the team.
Yes, one for the team there, Miss Whittle. And she's got the horse in a 0 to 120. And with a very useful conditional in Jason Dixon taking the 7 off, he's 14%. 14% for a 7 off. So Dorking Boy dropped in class, etc. Double figures, massive price.
Yeah, superb. And that's yours as well, is it, John? We can assume.
No,
I've sickened him off.
Yeah, I mean, for all the reasons that Lee suggested, really. I mean, Miss Whittle did a marvellous job once the race, did it out of a wheelchair and got her on the horse. The only the alternative I came up with was possibly Sunset West. But I thought I had some fair novice form and would probably run well, but the price is not in the right order. Yeah. But Dorking Boy was good spot.
Anybody fancy anything to oppose Shishkin?
Best after the trainer, really. You know, I mean,
if I asked the trainer, I wouldn't get a straight answer. That's why I'm asking you to.
I'll tell you what I'd do tomorrow. And this is a race I did mark off as something interesting in that. Obviously, with the price of Shishkin, bookmakers sometimes offer different markets. And like for me, Cheddleton beats Eldorado Allen every day of the week.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the ground was really like perched up at Donny today, real soft, which Cheddleton likes. And I just think with the Tizard form, and I know that he's got a great jockey on in Jonja, but Cheddleton for me is definitely the second best in there, and that's where I'd look for a match bet or some kind of forecast.
Yeah. John,
I'm just wondering whether Nico might do an all-out and go 75 wide and then jump off halfway down the back. I don't know.
Yeah, didn't have a good day today, did he?
No.
He's terrible, to be honest, Nico. Terrible.
Yeah, I must admit, it's really weird, okay? I thought he was terrible, and then he went through a stage of being okay, and now he just seems bloody terrible again.
He's bloody awful. I mean,
I think your case that was steering jobs, wasn't
I mean, the amazing thing is, and I've always said this, that like you've got John Gosling on the flat, who's got like Rab Avlin and Nicky Mackay when Frankie Dettori's not available, and Nicky Henderson uses Nico, Jerry, and Ned. I mean, come on. I mean, what's that?
Intelligent people. Yeah.
I think it might be more about maybe what do they know.
That's like.
I'm sure Nico doesn't just know where they're buried. I think he probably helped to bury them.
Exactly. Yeah.
He dug the holes.
I think he sort of. What was that really good horse of Henderson's that had been dead ages before he announced it? Was it Spirit Leader? And he was still saying that he ran in the Supreme with Sprinter Saccharin. Did he run in the Supreme with Sprinter Saccharin? Okay, he ran really well in the Supreme. I might be getting my years mixed up a little bit. And then basically he sort of went astray, as so many of them do. And people were going, "Oh, Nicky, any news on Spirit Leader?" And he's like, "Oh no, absolutely, he's fine, not a problem." Turns out the horse had broken his bloody neck. But yeah. Anyway, we move on. 205, Lee.
Oh, geez. I mean, this is the typical mares race. I mean, right? You can analyze this, right? You could study this race for 5 hours. You've got Floressa that basically looked a bit dead last time out. Like, I was really disappointed in her last time out. Then you've got Marie's Rock that Hendo was claiming this is the second coming, and then run an absolute shitter last time. And then Miranda, they've had to take up to Musselburgh with Angus on taking 7 off to try and get her to win. And Angus couldn't get her on. And then you're into the inferiors.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd love anyone. I mean, come back to us, on Twitter or anything. Come back with a nap in this race, and I'll bow down to you if you nail it, because I'm tipping nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think regular listeners by now will know my views on mares hurdles, mares chases, mares anything really. It's a case of kettle on, bit of pate on it, and shout the dog in for 10 minutes.
I hope that's not a very unwoke, misogynistic view there, Mr. Leng.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Do you know what? I'm actually tempted, to give Maria's Rock another chance. Headgear goes on. Second run back after the wind up. Plus, for Hendo, actual decent jockey on board in James Bowen.
I'm saying they've got the first jockey on there, haven't they? Yeah.
What most people would have as the first jockey.
Yeah.
So I'd be quite tempted for that. But let's move on to the River Don. I'd say my one bet of the day runs in this, and that's Pat's Fancy. And I sort of, about a couple of hours ago, I looked and he was 8-1, and I thought, oh, cracking, that's okay. Just obviously warming the show. Come on, and he's now 9-2.
Yeah,
So,
Cathryn.
Hey, what? Sorry.
I said, yeah, sorry, Cathryn.
So, I mean, he's going to go in my Bar Steward inquiry pick for the weekend. But yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed that he's gone that short, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, Lee, anything for us in here?
Yeah, I like two at prices, and rather I do like your selection. I think he's going the right way. I do like him, but like you say, he's been hammered overnight again. Yeah. The overnight rats have taken to your fancy. There's two I like at prices: Fernhill and Exploiter for me. The Ben Case horse. I think that's already displayed a really good staying character to win this kind of race. It's very perched up ground. Fernhill will be very suited to that, and I think double figures does represent a good amount of value. Exploiter at Chepstow, it might look a really sort of moderate run in the fact, well, you couldn't win that, but it was terrible tactics. He was held up off a slow pace, came there, and just basically couldn't catch the front runners, which, as always, is the case at Chepstow.
Yeah.
You just it was disadvantaged, and I thought Exploiters, there's a lot more in the locker there. So two horses there at double figure odds that I think are a little bit underrated in this race.
Okay, and John, anything in this River Don for you?
Yeah, Pat Fancy, thanks, guys.
It's you, isn't it? It's you that's moved.
I was fancying Flash Kalonji's, and then when Pumpkinhead withdrew it, I switched quickly to Pat's Fancy because he's got such terrific form on slop, really.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he has won at the absolute slop of all slops in Foss Lass.
Ross Lass regular,
which may as well be in the sea.
For the lovely Rebecca. So.
I'd say she'd be right up your street, John.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, on to the Sky Bet. The centerpiece of this Doncaster card, should we say. Now, I'm going to let sentiment go here, but literally, if York Hill wins this, I will be crying. He's like the one thing, the sort of one shining light of the National Hunt season so far is that they got York Hill back to win the rehearsal. And I just come home safe at the end of the day. But, to see him win this would be absolutely amazing. So on from one sentimental old sod to another, John, what do you fancy in this?
I love the fact that you class me as a sentimental.
It's sarcasm, John.
It's a shame. I've done a fair job of work on this race.
I love it. Go on.
Because at the 4-day stage, there was a cap guard gelding of Paul Nichols that myself and Leigh were both with when it at Newbury. Name escapes me at the minute, but I was proper fancying this. And it was a JP McManus. And I thought, well, if that's the selected of 3 entries, I think there was, I thought, I'm going to be all over this like a rash. And then, of course, they take that out. And the one that they lay in, that there's particularly strong money for, they've got Decky on. So I wasn't best pleased. So I resorted to several videos, not all of them pornos. Some were actually of racing.
Phew, mixing it up a bit for once, John.
Of course. And I've got one here that is 40 to 1 that I think should be between 14s and 16s.
Okay.
And that's Guitar Pete.
Oh, I love him as well.
Well, yes, he's a lovely old boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He was just moving into contention at Kempton when he got to the 4th last time.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed as though he would rather tunnel under it than go over it. Now, to me, you could not have kicked him out the first 4 that day. And I tend to think he might even have won it.
Okay.
The fact that Cotton Wool Nicky thinks he's sufficiently over it to run here, I take as a huge positive, because one of you is taking a fall like that, you probably wouldn't have seen it till October,
Yeah.
Doncaster's a lot less taxing to jump than Kempton. I mean, Leigh get round you, they are carrying your Cathryn. So, at 40 to 1, a sporting play on Guitar Pete.
Okay. 40 to 1. Do you know, when last season, when things were not, actually, was it last season? Was it the season before? I'm getting my seasons. It may have even been the season before, when things were wonderfully normal. Guitar Pete was running at Cheltenham. I had to interview Nicky Richards, and I ended up just blubbering onto him about how much I loved Guitar Pete. So, Nikki, of course, you're going to be listening to this podcast. I do apologise. Just really like the horse. Lee, what do you fancy?
He's a lovely old boy, isn't he?
Actually, fucking hell, was it you, John? Because that, maybe it was you in disguise. Lee, go on, give us your Sky bit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for me that of this race, the key form line is the Captain Canelo form line, and I can't see past it. I just can't. I mean, it's not very original. I mean, I'm not bouncing up and down at the prices, but the one thing for Canelo this season, if you watch him, he looks a different animal. He's a different beast to last season. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's off. Yes, the handbrake's off.
I was going to say that. I thought, no. That's, you can't say that's far too obvious. And then I hear John shout, "Well, he's off."
He's off. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean the Captain Canelo fought in the Peter O'Sullivan Memorial at Newbury is definitely the form line to concentrate on. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I can't see anything else other than that. But the prices, I'm a bouncing no. But that's the form. that's the form line to work on. Anyway.
Am I bouncing? No.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's move on to the Sky Bet Money Back handicap chase. The last race that we're going to cover. Go on, John. You lead this one. What are you going for?
The Sky Bet Money Back, yeah. Well, I'm hoping for much more than my money back here. Agamemnon, whatever the hell in the hell it is.
Oh yeah, Agamemnon. Yeah.
Yeah. He had Paddy Brennan booked for this before he had him booked for his COVID jab. Honestly, he's been nailed out of this since the dawn of time. Honestly, he was always riding this.
Okay. I got my one.
The last run will have brought this to concert pitch. It's only a pound higher than for the last win. It handles slop. It ticks several boxes for me, this one. And that would be my main bet tomorrow.
Lovely. Okay. Lee, do you agree with Mr. Leng?
No. It's one of those sort of races. It's some bad ones in here. But I thought the Nick Kent train, Superman, Nick Kent, or Clark Kent, Nick Kent, whatever.
Glad you said that right.
Yeah. Who's in the box? I thought it was in your box. I would say, but but yeah, that's the one for me. I think it beat Cyclop at Market Raisin when Cyclop was well in, and I think who's in the box in the slop, and it will be slop tomorrow. Cut up ground at Doncaster, and I thought that would run a big race.
Fabulous. Lee, can I just ask, how many gins have you had?
I'm on the. I'll tell you what I'm on at the moment. It's the Lakes gin.
Okay.
It's from Cumbria, and it's really potent. 47%.
Bloody hell!
Bloody
it sounds marvellous, I must say.
Yeah. It sounds really effective, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you should have some before every podcast.
Yeah, and Sunday. Yeah.
I've got some particularly stubborn stains on my kitchen floor.
Okay.
I might just give that a whirl.
There's no mixers. It's literally block ice with it. Yeah. Block ice. A square piece of ice. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Right. Let's give the listeners our patent. So I'll kick off Pat's fancy for me in the River Don. John.
I give you mom.
Yeah, the Agamemnon. Yeah.
Dorking lad for me in the opener Doncaster. You have to say Doncaster for
Doncaster.
IT phrasing. Yeah. Up here it's Doncaster, but it's Doncaster.
It's like they say Cheltenham.
There's only one R in Doncaster, isn't there? Right, there's no R in Bath.
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 Do you mind? Look, you're talking to someone down here. It's Bath. Do you mind? Dorking boy, Pat's family, Pat's fancy, and Agamemnon. Okay, yeah. I've got a good feeling about this. I reckon we're on to a winner there, Trig. So, right, we will be back for the Sunday sermon, of course, on Sunday. If we didn't get to your question today, don't worry, we will read it out on Sunday. If you've got any more, please do fire them in, just either to any of us on Twitter or to the Bar Stewards Inquiry account on Twitter. Thanks for listening. Enjoy Donny tomorrow, and go and invest in some of Lee's gin. Good night.